Okay, everybody, so I'm going to go through this Google slide presentation about clay in case you weren't in class or you would simply like to review it again. What is clay? Clay is a mineral dug out of the earth. It is made of aluminum, silicon, and water, and it is a naturally plastic material when wet, which means that it is flexible and moldable. Embedded into this slide is a 5-minute video of how clay is made from the show How It's Made. Types of clay. You have earthenware clay, which contains many minerals such as iron oxide, also known as rust, and in its raw state may contain some sand or small bits of rock. Called a low fire clay, earthenware fires in a temperature range of 1700 to 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. After firing, it is still porous. Earthenware is commonly used in the making of terracotta pots, roofing tiles, and other low-fire ware. Stoneware is a hard and durable clay that is fired to temperatures between 2100 and 2300 degrees Fahrenheit. Its natural colors vary from light gray or tan to dark gray or chocolatey brown. Historically, stoneware was used for crocks and jugs and is now typically used to make dinnerware. Porcelain has few impurities, and the main ingredient used in making it is kaolin. Because its particle size is larger than other clays, it is not very plastic. This means that in a moist, unfired state, kaolin tears when it is bent. Kaolin is a high fire clay, needing heat from 2335 to 2550 degrees Fahrenheit to vitrify. Fired porcelain can become very hard and translucent, its melted surface becoming so smooth and shiny that a glaze is not needed. The temperature clay fires to in the kiln is measured in cones. This is based on pyrometric cones, which are long pyramid-shaped pieces of clay that melt at different temperatures. Cones with a 0 before the number are cooler than cones without. If there is a 0 in front, the larger the number, the cooler the temperature. If there is no 0, the larger the number, the hotter the temperature. So in this diagram, cone 05 is hotter than cone 011. Cone 9 is hotter than cone 4. And cone 6 is hotter than cone 06. All right, the main event, the 7 stages of clay. We have the dry stage, the slip stage, the plastic workable stage, leather hard stage, bone dry stage, bisqueware stage, and glaze firing stage. Powdered clay. This is how clay is often shipped. Ours comes in the next form, the third form, plastic form. Powdered clay cannot be used for hand building or throwing until water is added. It is dangerous to breathe, and you will not see clay in this stage at ETHS. The second stage is slip. This is the wettest form of clay. It's used to attach clay to clay, so it's like a glue, and it's made from dry or plastic clay and water. Here is our third stage, plastic. In this stage, the clay is flexible and moldable without cracking or breaking. This is the stage that we use to build projects, and this is how we receive our clay from the supplier in big blocks. You each got a smaller block taken from a larger block. Stage 4 is leather hard. This clay is easy to carve or mark, but will no longer bend without cracking. This is the stage where it's best for decorating, attaching, and smoothing. And at this stage, it is more fragile than plastic clay. All right, our fifth stage, bone dry or greenware. All of the physical water has evaporated from the clay. However, there is still chemical water at the molecular level. This is when the clay is at its most fragile state, so most easily broken. It is lighter in color, and this is when the work is ready to be fired for the first time. And wait, here's the big change. Until the first firing in the kiln, clay can shift between all previous states. You can wet down a bone-dry clay until it becomes slip again. Even if a pot was made 1,000 years ago, if it has never gone in the kiln, it will disintegrate quickly when submerged in water. Clay at all these stages can be recycled. We call it reclaiming the clay. After a piece comes out of the kiln, it can no longer return to any of the previous states. It has chemically changed and will not disintegrate in water. This is why we find pots that are thousands of years old. It's part of what makes ceramics so functional. All right, our sixth stage of clay is bisqueware. All of the chemical water has now evaporated from the clay. The work has vitrified or become glass-like and makes a chiming noise when tapped. The work changes in color, and the work is ready to be glazed and refired. So our clay bisque fires at cone 05 or 1800 degrees Fahrenheit. And the last stage is glazeware. So the glaze has melted and become shinier. The work is now food safe, provided that a food safe glaze has been used, and the work is finished. So this is the second firing of your piece. One thing to remember is that clay shrinks in the bisque firing and then again in the glaze fire. Our particular clay shrinks 11.5%. And very importantly, our clay safety rules. Avoid dust, try and clean up scraps as you work, and don't sand dry clay. In addition, clean your tools at the end of each session. You want to clean up with a damp cloth. Sweeping or dusting causes dust to rise into the air where we breathe it in. Do not drink or eat while working. Although the clay is completely non-toxic, many clays and glazes are not. So it's a good idea to practice good studio habits now. Finally, wash your hands well after working and use lotion so your skin stays healthy. Clay is very drying. All right, so that is it. Those are the stages of clay and the safety rules.